I have a very exciting announcement in this video, which is on theme for the topic as well. How great is that? Hey Spuds, it's Jamie, welcome back to another video. First video on the channel, I don't know, but welcome either way. I'm very glad to have you here for today's installment of LGBTQ plus TikToks. The feel good, the wholesome, the relatable, the positive ones. But first, I have an incredibly exciting announcement that I hope you are all going to be very excited about as well. So get yourselves very hyped and prepared for excitement. Yay. Some of you might remember Pud, the pride dino, with his little trans egg and his green bow tie, wonderfully cute eyes. Oh my god, I love Pud so much. He is the pride dinosaur that I released a couple years ago, but he is sadly no longer available. Goodbye, OG Pud. But the exciting news is that I am releasing not one, but two new versions of Pud, specifically pride themed. So if you missed out the first time, or you just want a pride related plushable dinosaur that is very, very cute and can be your little buddy, then keep listening. First up, we have Trans Pud. He literally embodies the trans flag from head to toe, from his eyeballs to his toe beans. He is the trans flag. Trans Pud also comes with 3 different pride eggs: a rainbow egg, asexual egg, and non-binary egg. There was a limit on 3 eggs per plush. I hope you are happy with the selection. And next up on the prehistoric catwalk is Rainbow Pud. From his colourful feet to the rainbow spikes down his back, where the order of the spikes will be random. Rainbow Pud is bringing the more subtle flag, and also comes with 3 pride eggs. This time a trans flag egg, bisexual egg, and a pansexual egg. As I said, I was limited to 3 eggs per plush. I do apologise that I could not do every single egg. I would have loved to, but if you want to collect all 6 eggs, you can get both plushies, and there is a special discount for those who do. And the best thing of all, I am donating a percentage of the profits that I make off of the sales of the Pud plushies to LGBTQ plus charities. So 10% of the Trans Pud plushie profits will go towards Not a Phase, a wonderful trans focused charity who are committed to helping the trans community. And 10% of Rainbow Pud profits will be going towards Rainbow Railroad, an amazing global charity helping LGBTQ plus people escape danger and find safety. So if you want to go check out either Pud or both Puds, there is a link down in the description box. So go show them some love. If you don't want to buy one, maybe send the link to somebody who might like them. I can't wait for you to get them. So please go check them out. And now we can get on with watching the LGBTQ plus TikTok.
What do you call a person who is attracted to both males and females? Bicycle?
I am a bicycle. Are you a bicycle? All the bisexuals are now bicycles. Can bisexual people be a penny farthing? That would be fun. Me, a lesbian, trying to enjoy a solo coffee date when a man approaches and internal panic takes over. Oh no.
Hey.
Hey.
English, Spanish.
English.
Hi. I saw you and I thought you were cute, so I wanted to meet you. I'm Charles.
Sorry. Thank you.
Alright. You're not single.
I'm gay, but
Oh, okay.
so
No.
sorry.
Does it matter?
Yeah.
Excuse me? I feel really bad that she felt the need to apologize to him. Where that should have stopped at the very latest was her going, "No thank you. Done. No more questions needed. You don't need to ask if she's single because it doesn't matter if she's single. You don't need to know her sexual orientation." Not that he asked, but she felt like she was like, no, I need to tell this guy just to shut this down so he doesn't keep asking me why I do not want to provide my information to him. It's so bizarre. And then when you say that you are only attracted to women and he goes, "Does it matter?" Yes, dude, it matters.
I'm not buying any of this stuff, but I was curious as to what Target was going to do for their Pride line this year, given that they've rolled back so much of their DEI and have lost literally millions of dollars in sales on account of that decision. And boy, howdy.
Target this year with their Pride stuff, fascinating. I think last year as well. I briefly covered it in a video I did with Rowling during Pride Month. I'm interested to watch this.
Was I surprised to see what they're offering this year? Kicking it off in their home decor, they have a series of these birds that my sister used to collect, and they have a bunch of like drag queeny birds. There's like a Marie Antoinette bird, which is sort of interesting. And then there's this here, perhaps the most homophobic of them all. Mini bird figurines, Gal and Pal.
They did not. I saw the bird figurines. I didn't know they called them Gal and Pal. And they literally put the lesbian flag on one of them. Gal and Pal. No. No.
And they do come with the optional upgrade of purchasing the U-Haul moving van.
Okay, Rolly and I actually thought this was quite cute.
Just Gal and her pal and their U-Haul. They've taken extra pains to make sure that you know that this is all adult stuff. They have no children's-sized clothing, no children's books, anything like that. They do have...
God forbid children know that rainbows are a thing and that gay people exist. Oh, the horrors. People who think it's inappropriate for children to learn that people can be LGBTQ+, absolute bananas. There's ways that children can learn about cis straight people that would be inappropriate and straight relationships that would be inappropriate. It's all about age appropriateness. Something or someone or a relationship being LGBTQ+ in some way does not inherently make it inappropriate. If it were inappropriate for children, just simply by saying that two men can be in a relationship together, then it should also be inappropriate to say that a man and a woman can be in a relationship together. There is a clear double standard and hypocrisy going on. So the fact that these places have just caved to that hypocrisy, to those loud bigots, and gone,
ah yes, oh it would be very, very wrong for a child to buy a t-shirt that has a little rainbow and says pride on it or something, but absolutely appropriate for a 3-month-old baby to have a baby grow that says I like boobs.
That would be from the boys section, by the way. It would be inappropriate if it was for a baby girl. Or like one that says ladies man. That's all fine and not inappropriate at all according to straight people, but no, a rainbow, oh dear.
The word of the year is authentic. You're not going to find anything in stores that says queer or gay on it. It will say authentic or proud. Anything that says gay or queer on it seems to be for online only. They do have a section that highlights LGBTQ owned brands that you can find in the store, and they are offering whatever that is. But I really can't get over this gal and pal and the friggin' U-Haul. You don't get to make jokes about us when you're not laughing with us.
Okay, that is a very important point. I totally agree with that, because it's like if you go into the stores and everything is muted and toned down, and the only place you can get actually like overtly pride or LGBTQ+ stuff that is very clearly for LGBTQ+ things and pride and people is online, and they've hidden it from stores, they've taken anything rainbow or LGBT+ related out of the kids sections, then why do you still get to make money from a community that you are not even whispering support for at this point? You're like sliding a little folded up quarter post-it note under the door going, I think you're alright. Like, that's not support, that's cowardice. In honor of Pride Month, telling my mums they have a grand baby on the way.
Gift. Got you a little something while you were away.
We were so on it. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my fucking god. We knew like days ago. How did you know? We just we just felt it. And then when I saw you smiling yesterday with the dimples, and I said, you're like the cat that swallowed the canary. Remember I said that?
That's very cute. I really love seeing older queer people, especially like couples. I just think it's very sweet. And they're gonna be grandmas. Oh, I love it. My reaction when I walk into the Girl Spot gym and see a 6'2", 200kg muscular man with full facial hair. Where is this going? But then I realize it's okay because they could be a trans man and they're technically biological women according to Natalie. Well, I'm glad people are still calling this out because yes. This whole panic over trans women in the women's bathrooms, it's really shitty towards trans women, and it harms trans women so much. It also harms all women as well, though, because you are literally just making it easier for cis men to walk into bathrooms. They could walk into women's bathrooms anyway if they wanted to. There's so many bathrooms that are like, a member of staff who is a man could be cleaning the women's bathroom at any point, and there's little warning notices outside. So like, cis men already have access to these spaces if they want it. Scapegoating the trans community is not addressing the issue. I was so like caught out in the first half. This is not LGBTQ plus positive, and then it was, and it was a sarcastic call out, as there should be. Nan's cute comments about having this out and display of pride.
So why did you get that out?
Because it's the you made it without realising it as a little child. It's the
colours of
the
Pride? That's really nice.
Yes,
it's tomorrow, isn't it? Well, the one in London's tomorrow.
Yes, that's right, yeah. Isn't it lovely? I should give that to you.
No,
give it to Basil.
Basil?
I have no idea who Basil is, but that's very cute. The grandma knew what it was. It was like, you made this as a kid before you knew. Yeah, supportive grandparents. Age is not an excuse. Watching my Christian mum have tea with my fiance because life didn't end when I was 18. Oh. That's very special. It's very important. And I think there's always room for people to grow. Being with Shaba and seeing how her family reacted in the beginning, the biggest thing we took from that is gut reactions aren't always how people are going to feel about something, but their gut reaction and them causing you hurt, you don't need to be around for that growth process. If that is causing you harm or if that is toxic in your life, it's obviously wonderful. And we want people to grow and change and become more accepting, but it's not something you need to hang around and watch. But it is so wonderful when it does do that flip. I don't know what this person's mum's opinion was. I'm assuming because she was described as like Christian and how life didn't end at 18 and this was not something she ever saw happening, I'm going to assume there was maybe not a huge amount of acceptance, but clearly now there is. Yeah, it resonates a lot with me. Things didn't get stuck from when we were 17. Things did progress. Things did change. We never would have imagined being in the position we are now back when we first got together, or even 4 or 5 years into our relationship. It's been in the last 6-ish years that things have really started to get better, and yeah, it's been a really wonderful thing to see. You look happier. Thanks. I stopped reading books about straight people. I actually would love some book recommendations. I'm very proud of myself. I used to be a massive reader when I was a kid. I've always read a lot of books. I've always wanted to like write. I've always done a lot of writing. And this year I was like, I want to get back into reading. I have read 16 books as of the 27th of July, and I am halfway through my 17th book of the year. And I know that that is not the biggest amount of books, but I'm very proud of myself because literally since I went to uni when I was 18, that is what killed my reading, because I read so much for my course, and just being an adult and living independently, I had significantly less time, and it was just a passion that dropped off the radar for me, and I'm so proud of myself. So if you have some recommendations, I love books. I love anything to do with like thriller, crime, apocalypse, that kind of vibe, but if it has some kind of queer element to it, yes. No pride flag, doesn't matter. Oh, you are kidding me. That is amazing. That is amazing. How many colors though? 4. Nearly. It's close enough. It is better than nothing, and I love the ingenuity. You don't have a pride flag? Take a feather duster that's loosely rainbow colored.
Are trans women women?
Are trans women women?
Yeah.
Are trans women women? Yes.
A trans women? Yes. He seems surprised, so I'm assuming he's talking to somebody that he is under the impression is transphobic.
W? Is this what like a Canadian conservative is?
Trans? Is it trans?
No, it's a male that's transgender.
Okay, fair. What I thought you meant a woman who transitioned. This will always be a woman to me.
A few moments later.
This is what always gets me. These people, like the person that is on the other end of the phone, not the guy in the video, the people like that always think like,
oh yeah, well, yeah, clearly, like, my opinion is right on this community. Like, yeah, like, trans people are not valid at all, not their gender, no.
But yet don't even know the difference between a trans man and a trans woman and get that mixed up so much that they're then accidental allies. Where does that arrogance, where does that false self-confidence come from to think that something you know so little about, as in you know nothing about, that you think your opinion matters, that you think that your opinion is correct on it? You literally do not even know what a trans woman is, and you think that your belief in your head actually means something. It doesn't. Why are we believing these people? Why are we believing the people that know nothing over the trans community?
So just to clarify, God the Father, that's a guy, right? That's a man.
Jesus was a man, yes.
I said God the Father, not God the Son.
God is there is no gender to God. What are you talking about? Jesus?
Wait, if there's no gender to God? So God's non-binary.
What are you talking about?
If there's no gender to God, then God is non-binary. Would you agree that God made humans in his image?
No.
That is like the core teaching principle of like the first half of Genesis 1. Is God perfect?
Yes, he's all-knowing.
So being non-binary is perfection. Okay, so if you deviate from being non-binary, such as if you fit in a binary gender category such as man and woman, you are imperfect by nature. So in other words, non-binary supremacy, am I right?
They, them, energy. They, them, energy. They, them, energy.
Can't argue with that. Correct. Non-binary people, you are ultimate perfection.
Gay marriage is an oxymoron. We're not saying as Christians, we just want to keep marriage to ourselves. We don't want to share marriage with the homosexual community. We're saying that by God's definition, you can't get married. God defines it because God designed it.
Let's just settle this once and for all.
Hold on. I feel like somebody has stitched this with a lot more knowledge than me. I will hold my thought. But wow, that is ridiculous.
There's not a single place in the entirety of the Bible where marriage is defined. Conservatives claim that marriage is defined in Genesis, when God creates Adam and Eve, and we're told that the two become one flesh. They leave their father and mother and cling to one another.
Just saying I hate the word flesh. Oh, makes me feel funny.
Become one flesh. And conservatives say that is marriage. In other words, they are claiming that this is prescriptive rather than descriptive. The difference being, was Genesis just describing what happens to Adam and Eve in this story? Or was Genesis prescribing what all human relationships should look like? Quite clearly, if you read the text itself, it's a story. It's describing what happened. And yes, Jewish people and then later Christians took that story, the image of Adam and Eve coming together in a committed relationship and becoming one flesh, a new unit together. Christians used that as a standard for defining what intimate relationships could look like. Later, they created a definition of something called marriage based on this story.
I never knew this. Learning something new every day.
Based on this description of what Adam and Eve did. But if you actually read through the Bible itself, there are a wide variety of relational configurations in the scripture that are, again, described, not prescribed. Because nowhere in scripture is there a prescription for what all relationships should look like, just descriptions of what some relationships in the biblical times did look like.
I've said it before, I will say it again. I respect people with religious views and who believe in God. That is your belief to have, but just don't use it to discriminate against other people. And especially when you are then taking something that was written so long ago that I've never met or heard of a religious person who lives by any of the books to an absolute T, like literally word for word following. So it's always like a matter of interpretation, and even people who follow the same elements of the book interpret it in different ways. It's not something that is black and white. It's incredibly grey. And so how can you use that to discriminate against other people? Something that was written in a time like, oh my God, have times changed? Like, the world has changed infinitely in the past 50 to 100 years, let alone 2,000 years. We're living in a completely different world. Knowledge is different. And so to live your life so strictly and use something so old that has been translated and also used by people with certain beliefs throughout history and added to, how can you use that to discriminate against other people? I do not judge if you want to use it as a guide to your life and that is what you take comfort from and what you believe in, fine. But how can you use it to be an arsehole to other people when it isn't literally like one of the core principles just to be a good person? Treat other people how you would want to be treated? It's so bizarre to me.
The way that stories should be traditionally interpreted is not as literally true, but as stories that communicate principles that we can then apply to our real lives in the real world. And the principle that Genesis teaches is that it's not good for any human to be alone, and that two human beings can come together in committed relationship and form a familial bond that brings life and love and fulfillment to one another. But conservatives are hell-bent on taking literally a mythic story from 4,000 years ago and making it prescriptive for all relationships for all of humanity.
Wow, so he just described Adam and Eve as a mythic story. It's the way I've always viewed the Bible, that it was a bunch of fables and stories to guide people into helping them understand what is right and wrong. Not literally saying there was a woman made from the rib of a man.
They say that because Adam was a man and Eve was a woman, that is the only kind of relationships that can constitute marriage, even though the Bible never explicitly says that.
Were Adam and Eve even married?
They are drawing that out from a description of a story of the first two human beings forming a relationship. Yet this view is inconsistent. Conservatives don't take the earlier part of the Genesis story, where Adam and Eve take a bite of a fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and thus give birth to sin. They don't then deduce that the only sin is taking a bite from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. No, the story is communicating a principle. The literal details of the story are not what are important, but the principle the story is communicating. And the principle that the Bible does teach about relationships that is true is that all humans are built for relationship and for community. Not all of us are wired for intimate relationships, but many of us are, and all of us are wired to be in community and connection with other humans. It is not good for humans to be alone. So conservative Christians, stop twisting scripture. Stop manipulating stories to prescribe what the only right way to be married is, and instead take the principle that all human beings are wired for relationships, and that when LGBT people want to come together in covenant commitment relationship, that is a good and holy thing that follows the path and the teaching that the Bible outlines.
I wish everybody who is religious was like that, because that feels like how it should be. I like that video. I'm going to think about it a lot.
J.K. Rowling retweeted this article today that states that the UN says transgender athletes...
J.K. Rowling jump scare. Where's this going?
Athletes competing in women's athletic events have won nearly 900 medals over their competitors. Whenever I see things like this, I think to myself, how did they arrive at that number?
This is a long video. We will watch it. The first thing I want to say is I would instantly always, I feel like this person is going to do it, so I'm looking forward to watching it. If you see somebody with these kind of bigoted views give an absolute number and be outraged at it and try and spread fear, question where that's come from. Question what that number would look like if it were a percentage. Because mainstream media several years ago, and still floating around now, does the same thing about detransitioners, where they will give an absolute number and say hundreds rather than saying 1%. Because if they wrote it like that, people would not be in uproar about trans people having access to gender affirming care, because it would clearly indicate how successful it is. It is a hugely successful treatment, hugely successful. Like having a 1% regret rate within medicine is almost unheard of. Yet trans people are expected to be at 0% because we're trans. But surgeries generally, oh yeah, they can be 14% and nobody says anything. So I'm curious, because if you think about all the sporting events that happen everywhere where it's recorded who's won a medal, 900 sounds like a tiny number.
How do you even go about calculating a number like that? So I had to look into it, obviously. The link JK provides is from a very strange news site that I've never seen before. It's an extension of ABC, I guess. No links or citations, so I had to Google.
Big flag. If people are not providing links and citations, especially when they're making such bold claims, massive flag. And I have never seen a transphobe provide a link or citation that actually has turned out to say what they say it says. I hope that made sense. Most of the time they don't provide anything, and if they do, it's bullshit.
Google so much to find what it was referencing. Red flag already. If the evidence was actually compelling, TERFs would be parading it through the streets, I presume.
Yes.
The document in question is this. A report presented to the UN Council on August 27th, 2024 on violence against women and girls, its causes and consequences by Reem Al-Salem. Reem Al-Salem is the Special Rapporteur on Violence Against Women and Girls and also a noted gender-critical feminist who is opposed to gender recognition reform. Now, already from this Wikipedia page, you can see that the original article and J.K. Rowling alleging that this report is representative of the UN as a whole is incredibly misleading because two other UN commissioners were very outspoken against it, leading to the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights to immediately publish their own report on trans athletes.
Shocking that gender criticals would lie and just be generally shitty.
You can kind of tell which one the UN most supported by the fact that this one is featured on the UN news site while Reem Al-Salem's is not. But I want to know where the heck they're getting the 900 number from, so back to the disgrace report we go.
I just want to say I love this video. I love it when people do breakdowns like this. I think it's fantastic. Thank you so much for making this video.
Key term search 900. No luck. I look up double zeros instead and we have a hit. According to information received by 30th March 2024, over 600 female athletes in more than 400 competitions have lost more than 890 medals in 29 different sports. So let's see that footnote. 29. Submission from Women's Liberation Front, blah, blah, blah. Well, how vague, but don't worry, I've already found it. Wolf submits input to UN on violence against women and girls in sport. The submission is only 4 pages long, but when I tell you these 4 pages are so full of misinformation and bad citations, I can't even explain. But let's stay on track. Key term search 900. A hit. An organization formed to keep track of males claiming victory in female sports has identified over 900 instances in which males deprived female athletes of records, scholarships, or other opportunities, many of those involving female sport in the United States. No citation.
No citation. I want to know where this goes later. But it's also just the thing of like, trans women are women. Trans women face discrimination and difficulty in accessing a lot of things in life, inequality, based on being women and trans. We're not playing Oppression Olympics here, but for some reason, gender criticals are always like, oh,
look at these men taking opportunities away from women.
And it's like, no, look at these trans women actually having an opportunity. They are still women. Trans women and cis women are not against each other. They shouldn't be against each other. They're not taking away rights. Trans rights don't impede on cis people's rights. Oh, it's just ridiculous. Okay. Right, let's hear more about this 900.
Hint at what this organization is. Must be quite a statistical powerhouse, though. But also, notice how different this is from the article that J.K. Rowling retweeted. Transgender athletes have won nearly 900 medals. That sounds concrete, doesn't it? Compared to instances in which males deprived female athletes of opportunities, etc.
So vague.
This number is made up, is what I'm saying. But of course, J.K. Rowling is quoting it with no critical thinking whatsoever. If you wanted proof for your transphobic parents, this should be enough. But let me press it a bit further. Let's key term search 00 like we did in the Al Salem report. We find a footnote that notes a specific case in West Virginia, where it notes, by consistently dominating female track and field events, the male plaintiff displaced over 100 girls from victories. This is very disingenuously worded, because if you look up BPJ v. West Virginia, the plaintiff is an 11-year-old girl who wanted to be on the track and field team with her classmates.
This is actually horrific. This is where it boils down to. This like fear over trans women and this misunderstanding of the trans community is literally them meaning that children cannot play sport at school with their friends. Transphobes are a joke, and it's hilarious that they are referred to as gender criticals when they cannot think critically. It makes me so frustrated.
Nothing makes me happier than being on a team with my friends and competing on behalf of my school, said Pepper Jackson. I have many more years of cross-country and track and field left, and I just want the opportunity to participate in school sports like any other girl. But we are in pursuit of a citation, so let's go to page 49 of the dissenting opinion. By consistently placing in the top 15 and often in the top 10 competitors at events, BPJ displaced at least 100 biological girls at track and field events and pushed multiple girls out of the top 10. So again, no citation. Also, look at how the math is being calculated here. They are counting every girl that gets bumped down in rank because BPJ ranked somewhere in the top 15. They don't provide the number for how many girls were even competing. So you can imagine how the 900 number was accounted for, or rather, dreamed up. So beware when you see numbers anywhere by an anti-trans radicalist. Probably this is what their citations look like, but even less honest.
Love that. That was a perfect 5-minute summary on the thought process of these transphobes. It's making it sound like this little 11-year-old kid was destroying the lives and winning every competition. She was placing in the top 10 to top 15. I can see where they got that 900 number from. They're assholes. It is literally just this misinterpretation and overinflation has then been even more misinterpreted and overinflated by somebody else. That's then been taken again and misinterpreted and overinflated and then said as fact. And then that's where you get the billionaire with 13-14 million followers tweeting something that is fear-mongering misinformation. Ridiculous. Anyway, that was the last one. I do feel like often I start these videos like, yay, LGBTQ plus TikToks or memes. It's time for the wholesome and the happy. And then there is a lot of call out of homophobia and transphobia within them. But that's so important. And I find it uplifting to see people out there creating really well researched, really well discussed, informational videos that are really helpful, and I hope that more people see them. And yeah, don't forget to go check out the little puddles, little rainbow pud and little trans pud. Your support would be greatly appreciated. The goal is to sell 400 of each. I would really love to hit that target, so if you can help me reach that, I would super appreciate it. Thank you so much. But no pressure if you can't, it's totally fine. As always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Much love. Bye. I'm so sorry, I totally forgot to shout out my Patreons. Hello, I got really wrapped up in my excitement for the Pud plushies, but thank you so much to my wonderful Patreons. You'll see some names going up the screen right now of some of my wonderful Patreons. And I also want to say a massive thank you to my VIPs, my very important potato Patreons. Albar, Chloe, Dallin Irving, Eldon K, Gosco, Iona Balash, Jesse Entwistle, Marv Mallow, Max Makes Mods, Night Soul, Nesta, Rachel Raptor, Randy, Riley Ray, River Champaignemon, Sally Drew, Sarah Hobbs, Sienna Lamb, Slayer, Sugar Joe, TNS Mum, The Paisley Prince, The Third Hat Man, and Spring Metal Dragon. Thank you so much for your support. And I will not forget you again, I hope.